can't believe it. We have made it to the 100th episode of the Money Mom podcast. When I started this podcast, I had no idea where it would go. I just knew I had something to share about what we were doing, the work that we were doing, and how it was changing lives. And honestly, I had no clue that it would turn into what the Money Mom Club has become today. So, for this milestone, I want to do something special. I want to bring on someone who's been with me for a while, someone who has lived the transformation firsthand. Today, I am interviewing Stephanie. She is one of our Money Mom Club members. And here's why I wanted her on for our episode 100. Stephanie came to me stressed about money. She was spending too much on groceries and she felt like she was drowning and she didn't know where to start. So she joined me for the grocery budgeting piece. She implemented the shop method and she was able to start saving hundreds of dollars every month. And she thought that was the end of her story, but it wasn't. Because here's what she discovered. Cutting your grocery bill is just the beginning. Once you fix that one area, you start to ask bigger questions. Questions like, what else am I overspending on? Or how do I actually build wealth? Or how do I get my family on the same page with money? Or how do I stop feeling stressed about the money every single month? And that's when everything changed for her. That's when the Money Mom Club became more than just a grocery course. It became a complete financial transformation. And in this episode, Stephanie is going to share how she went from being stressed with money to feeling in control. What changed for her specifically when she started to save the money on groceries, and how the grocery method led her to bigger financial wins, and what Money Mom Club has meant for her and for her family, and one thing that she wishes she had known from the start. I'm so proud that this is our 100th episode, because it really shows the full journey. It shows this isn't just about saving money on groceries. It's about transforming your relationship with money so you can build the life you actually want. So stick around. You are going to love hearing Stephanie's story. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Money Mom podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Coons, and today we have a very special treat. I am joining our friend, Stephanie Griffin from the Money Mom Club, who is going to be here to share more of her experience, what she's experienced in the Money Mom Club, kind of her transformation, her journey with money. So welcome to the podcast, Stephanie.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Stephanie is a fellow California native. She's in Southern California. I'm in Northern California. So we have that connection because of that. But Stephanie is different from me in a lot of ways. And I wanted you to share kind of your story, where you're at in life and what kind of experiences you had before joining the Money Mom Club.
Absolutely. We moved about 7 years ago. And it's funny because that move, we came from the East Coaster my whole life, 45 years on the East Coast, moved out here. And the cost of living is just a little more expensive, actually a lot more expensive. So, I was used to budgeting and doing those kind of things. I love to cook. So I felt very comfortable in the kitchen, but I will tell you, we moved and about 6 months later, COVID hit. So then the whole family is here and you're making 3 meals a day and snacks. And I just felt just consumed with the process. And so one day I remember, gosh, it's been a couple of years ago, I remember seeing an ad from you and it struck me because you mentioned sometime in your presentation or just like your little snippet that you were a California mom. And I was like, oh, so she gets it. Like, it's not, it's a little trickier. I felt like it actually probably isn't, but in my mind, it was trickier to make things work out here. And just getting organized and like getting excited again about helping my family eat well and kind of sticking within a budget that was reasonable and not letting all the other things outside my control, like inflation, just blow up and make me stressed. So that's kind of my background and how I've kind of stayed with the group.
Awesome. And you're a mom of two?
I have two. I have one in college and one that's a high school freshman. So
okay.
Two boys. Big eaters.
Yeah, that's true. Because I get a lot of people who say, first off, the California thing is obviously if I can spend what I'm spending on groceries and other people in California can do that, then most people can do the same thing, nationwide.
Right.
But I don't have teenage boys. My oldest is almost 12. So he's definitely getting to the point where he's eating more. And I will at some point have three teenage boys, but I don't. And so it's always good to hear experiences of moms of teenage boys and how this streamlined the process for them,
Yes.
even with kids that are eating you out of house and home.
And other friends. Yes.
Yeah. So when did you join the Money Mom Club? You've been here for 2 years now?
Yeah, it's probably going on 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So then how did money feel? How did you approach money? Like you said you were always a budgeter, but beyond like the grocery budget, what did your money situation emotions feel like back then?
Yeah. I always used to say that my mom was really good with budgeting and she could make a penny scream. So I kind of have that in me. But we grew up very frugal. My dad was a university professor. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So they never said anything about money being tight, but I just felt like it was. And I think I've never shaken that, even though we're not in the same situation. Um, I kind of have always had that. I don't quite ever have enough mindset, even though the pantry is full, and I look in my refrigerator and we have plenty. So I would say like that money mindset kind of has always been with me.
Hmm.
Um, but I would say I didn't really harness that mindset until I started working with you and listening to your podcast and kind of using some of the tools that we get in the group to get past that to make it a benefit instead of a
Yeah.
deficit.
Yeah, and that's one of the one of the reasons I do the work that I do is because I just think so many people don't realize how much a scarcity mindset seeps into all areas of your life. And you don't realize it until you recognize, oh, I probably have some stories that I lived with my family and growing up. This was how I experienced money, and it's now the same, but my reality is different, right? Like
Completely. Yeah.
I shouldn't feel scarce. Like I should feel
Right.
abundant.
That's right. And I think my parents were both babies in the 40s. So their parents were Depression era parents.
Mhm.
And a lot of that trickled down just in general. They were like savers and, like they would wash out the bags and, reuse things. And we became hoarders of some sort, well organized hoarders, but we saved everything. And I don't fault them for that. That was a good teaching, but I need to
Hmm.
let go of some of those things. And I have let
Yeah.
go of a lot of those to be in a different space, to serve my family differently. Yeah.
Yeah. But what drew you to the experience was first the budgeting, the groceries, the feeding your
Yes,
family. That was
for
the
sure.
starting point.
Right. Because I remember just watching something and it was kind of like, I don't remember what it cost to join a challenge. I joined a little challenge and I was like, maybe I'm throwing this $20 away or whatever the challenge costs. But I was like, but if it helps me, then this would be worth it. And it did. So
Yeah.
then I just
Yeah.
stuck with it.
Yeah. And that's, why I'm so loud about the grocery spending is because there's something so much deeper than that, right? We can get into the scarcity mindset. We can get into the work that we do, but a lot of times moms don't, that's not pulling them. That's not a huge pain point that we're feeling. Like I'm not walking around every day being like, I have a scarcity mindset with money and I struggle with feeling like there's ever enough. It's like, no, I hate feeding my family and it's really freaking expensive.
Yeah.
So let me
Yeah.
fix that first.
100%. And I'll tell you another thing. I remember when I first started, you were very adamant about, you guys, every 2 weeks buy your groceries. I'm still not necessarily to the 2 week part, but you said have them delivered. If you have a service that can have them
Hmm.
delivered. And my cheap mindset was like, why would I spend $100 a year to have groceries delivered? And now I am a walking billboard for that because I've gotten back so much time. I'm so much more productive. I feel like I do stay within my budget because I know what the total is going to be before I
Hmm.
check out of the online grocery store. And it's just, I mean, I'm not like a completely different person, but it has changed my life in a lot of ways because it's given me a
Hmm.
lot more time freedom.
Well, and that's like what I'm so passionate about is the shop method. Yes, it saves you a lot of money, but the time savings, the energy savings, if we can take something off your plate as a busy mom and make your life easier, like why would we not do that, right?
Yes.
And there's always pushback. Like, I don't know if there's anybody that's ever come in and been like, I want you to show up for 2 weeks at a time and I want you to order your groceries. And people are like, fine, I'll just do it. It's like
Do
all,
it.
there's always
Yeah.
resistance,
Yeah.
right? And then they always come back afterwards and they're like, I don't know how I ever did this before. This is
Yeah.
life changing.
Absolutely. I know. I would never go back. Like the thought of going, sometimes I go to a grocery store if they're having a big sale or I'm dropping off an Amazon return and I need to grab something quick, but I haven't done a full grocery shop in a store at least in a year and a half.
Yeah, totally. I was just thinking about that today. The same thing. It's like
Beautiful.
how much time I probably save because I don't go to the grocery store. And it's not expensive. Like, yeah, it is $100 a year, but if you break that down,
Right.
that's only like $20 every 2 weeks, or no, not even that. What, $20? No, my math is terrible. It's like less than $10 a month is
Right.
what you're looking at.
Exactly. And I feel like you save much more than that by shopping diligently online because I am definitely a marketer's dream. If I'm in your store, I'm going to be like, squirrel, look at that. Oh, that looks yummy. Let me get that. It's on the end cap. And
Totally, totally.
so yeah,
So, do you know how much money you're saving compared to before you joined?
I should have looked that up. But I would say consistently, it's funny because I did a chart there for a while because we were kind of having a challenge in the group. And I feel like it went down maybe $100 a month consistently for like 6 months. So
Wow.
I just kept saving and I brought this as my show and tell. This is my Money Mom binder. So I have all of I know you
Oh,
don't have to do this, but I print out the recipes. So then I can come back through and I just tab them. So like I know what we're making this week. And I
wow.
build my grocery list on that. And it's great because I can give this to my really picky teenager and be like, you flip through. You tell me what you'd
Uh,
like to have this week. Um,
love it.
it's great.
So
It's
this
great.
is like you're saying like $600 if you cut it $100
I'm
every.
embarrassed to say what we were spending when I started.
Whatever, whatever. It
I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
really, like, I look back and I'm like, and it wasn't even as expensive as things are now. I feel like
Yeah.
grocery prices kind of have still kept going up.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was just, I'll call it burnout. I
Yeah.
just wasn't, I like abandoned ship. Like, I just was kind of like, we'll make whatever, we'll grab whatever from the store. There wasn't just a whole lot. And we were eating great meals, but I was also throwing out a lot of things.
Hmm.
The stuff that like the leftovers that don't get eaten or the extra produce. Maybe I'll make something with these peppers that are on sale and then they have fur growing on them. And
Yes.
you're like, I made nothing. And that was,
Yeah.
it's like cash in the trash. And I hate that. So yeah,
Cash in the trash. That's
that's right.
awesome. I love that. I've
So
never
I
used that
try to like
before.
make sure that, and the cool part about planning, it really does. I know like sometimes I can feel resistant to that, but
Mm.
because it does take a little bit of time. But having that when people say, and by people, my people in my house, what's for dinner? It's on the board. Go look at the board. It's written
Mm.
down what we're having. So I don't
Yeah.
have to think about that 5 o'clock. What am I making? What do I have in the freezer? That kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's just as simple as like a system. Like putting that in place. And I think we have so much barrier to like get that started. But
Right.
then once you do it, you're like, whoa, like so much easier. My life
So
is
much
so much
easier.
easier.
So much
Yeah.
easier. And I think
Um,
the other part too about being in the group, and maybe we were going to touch on this,
no,
but
yeah, you're good.
when we do the true shop the shelf challenge, where you're really not buying anything from the grocery store except for maybe eggs or
Hmm.
milk, something that you need in the week, that has gotten me to think in a whole different way about what's in my pantry.
Mm,
Um,
changing your perspective.
kind of full circle brings back what I learned from my parents. Like, I don't have to be scared of the scarcity. I can use the scarcity, like use up these things before I
Hmm.
buy something else, um, to make it work. And we've had so much fun, like creating crazy stuff that then becomes family favorites from these challenges,
Oh,
which
I
is
love
great.
that. Yeah, and we are going to do another one in April. I'm still on the fence of whether I'm going to open that up to the public again, but
Yeah.
we always offer it to our Money Mom
Yeah.
members. So stay tuned if you're listening and you are curious about doing that. That is my favorite challenge that we do
Hmm.
inside the Money Mom Club. It is so fun because within 2 weeks, like mindset shifts, transformations, savings, like people are saving so much money, but then it's a springboard to like, okay, this is where we start. And then you see the possibility. And then people are like, okay, I'm in. Teach me the rest of the shot method. Like,
100%.
we're just, that's the first step. It's the
Yeah.
S of the shot method. But there's so much more
Right.
that can still happen.
I think the other cool thing, two parts about that is that the community in the group is great. Because I remember somebody posted in the last one, it was like, I've got olives and peanut butter, or whatever. Like, what am I going to make with that? And then all of a sudden, it's like this hive mind that helps out and is like, oh my gosh, you got to try this. This would be great with that.
Yeah.
Or the bot that you have, like the
Mm.
little, AI that can say, oh, well, if you take those things and we do it this way. And I mean, it's just ways to think in that homemaking realm that we
Mm.
probably haven't considered in a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And we try to have it be comprehensive, right? We want like, you have the community, you have the coaching, you have the content, like you have everything you need to really make the changes that are necessary. Would you say that your relationship with money has changed? Like starting with the shop method, starting with all the other things that we do in the Money Mom Club, how has that transformation happened?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think sometimes we all just need a nudge to try new
Mm,
things and go a different direction. I know early on I was very focused on the groceries part of it, and then
hmm.
evolved into what are those other little from home ways that I could earn money, whether it was Facebook Marketplace, getting rid of some of the clutter in the house to pass it along, make some cash, or do kind of a side hustle. That's been great because I just needed that little, yeah, you could do more with this, and started doing some digital marketing and have made quite a nice income with that. I have a full-time
What?
job. So it's like that kind of stuff is fantastic. And I don't have to spend it all on groceries. I can save it for other things too, because it's
Yeah.
kind of all together making that money work for you instead of being scared of the power of it is nice. I
Yeah.
know in one of our challenges too, it was like a great way to save a lot of money by shopping the shelf, but then taking that money and I ended up picking a charity and giving it to a charity
Oh,
locally
yeah.
that really needed it. And I wouldn't have done that. It wasn't like I was trying to be altruistic just for the challenge, but like, oh, I actually have money to give because
Mm.
I'm making a choice to live life a little differently.
Well, and that's so telling to who you've be like your transformation with money when you can give. I know, and we talk about this in the money mindset course, but that is the highest level of
Mhm.
abundance is giving, right?
Right.
And giving freely, right?
Freely and joyfully, like it's a
Mm,
gift to be able to give.
yeah. Yeah. And the reason I do the work, the reason I save the money on groceries, the reason I have a side hustle, the reason I do all these things is for abundance and for
Right.
to pass it down. Like money flows to me, but it also flows from me. And that's a beautiful thing
Yeah.
when we can get there.
And you're right. It's funny because I hadn't really thought about, well, what has that shift been? But I would say prior to starting this, I was definitely more of, well, I just got to squirrel it away. I got to squirrel away the money. Like that's got to be
Mm-hmm.
money that we save for a rainy day.
Mm,
But that's also an indicator of, well, more money will come along, won't it? Like you'll have more money for the rainy
mhm.
day if you also are giving, when the
Right.
time is there.
That was my biggest shift when I went down this like money mindset journey of my for myself was like I 100% resonate with your story of like parents not having very much money. It was always there was never enough and it just felt like money was didn't grow on trees. Money was not abundant. And when I was able to shift that belief of like just the trust that money would come back, it just makes it so much easier to not clench onto it and hold on to
Right.
it. And I can
Right.
give and I can spend without feeling guilty. Like I used to feel so guilty when I would spend money and
Mhm.
I still will naturally do that. But I can talk myself down out of it and be like, no,
Right.
this is, you gotta flex the muscle, do the work,
Right.
to feel that abundant. Has anything changed? Like we haven't talked about your husband at all, right? This is a money mom club,
Right.
but has anything changed in your relationship or have you seen anything different in your marriage? Because a lot of people really struggle with the idea of joining this, doing the work for themselves, but then you have another person that you're dealing with when it comes to money and marriage and finances and all those things. So it's like I can do all the work that I'm going to do, but then if my husband doesn't do the work, then we're not on the same page.
Right. Yeah. And I would say that we used to not be on the same page with budgeting and finances.
Hmm.
I don't know that it all had to do with this group, but I would say it's funny, these questions, because I hadn't really thought about these, but I would say the atmosphere in the group, and this is going to sound weird, but the levity, meaning this is not so serious. This is like you can have
Mm,
fun with these things. So when we
mm.
would have those shop the shelf challenges, I mean, I was telling my family, hey, guess what? We're not going grocery shopping this week. So get ready. Like,
Your husband probably hated us for a little
lunch
bit.
is gonna look a little weird, but it'll feed you. And I think once you can incorporate and like allow, like I don't have to own it all. I
Mm,
can allow them into this process as well. They can be stakeholders in this change that we're having as this family. And then also, I don't have it up on my refrigerator right now, but I did put like a little thermometer, like what we were saving by doing this.
yeah.
And that's cool because then they get to see it, you know? Because I think everybody has that money baggage, whether they
Mhm.
have it or they don't have it, or what they grew up with. And I think by us being having that levity, being kind of joyful and giving and having just more fun with it, we give them permission to also
Oh,
have
I
fun
love
with
that.
it, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that probably took more stress off my husband. Not that I was like, here's what I'm shopping for on the grocery list this week, but
Hmm.
just him not feeling the pressure of
Hmm.
always having that kind of money hustle.
Yeah, yeah. If like, do you work? I mean, you're
Yeah,
working
I
from
work
home.
part-time. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So for me, at least in my marriage, it was like Brad was the primary income and he was doing all the work to like make as much money as he possibly could. And then it felt like for me, it was like I want to jump in the game as well. Like I want a seat at the table with you. And and saving hundreds of dollars a month is giving yourself a very big seat at the table.
Right.
And, I think husbands, whether you work or you don't work, they see that and they are grateful for it. Like if I'm going to bring home a paycheck and you're going to do as best as you can with the money that I'm going to come in, it's not all for nothing, right?
Right.
Instead of us just spending it away.
Absolutely. And I think stewardship is such a gift. So taking
Mm,
whatever is coming in, stewarding it well, putting it to good use and having extra to do, maybe it's, signing up for kids sports or something like that where you felt like you didn't have the bandwidth to do it, trimming off $300 a month, putting it towards that. That's huge.
mm, yeah. I also love what you said, which I don't think I've ever realized as well. The levity that's within the group. And I actually am like, wow, that's really true. Like we do try to make it enjoyable and fun and it's not this heavy thing, which money can feel really heavy for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
We're like moms on a mission. We're
Yeah.
just kind of trying to like, and we don't, I don't know that I'll ever actually meet anybody in the group in real life, but
Yeah.
you feel like you kind of get to know people and people
Hmm.
chime in with little solutions here and there. And it's just, yeah, we're kind of like all working towards the same goal. It may
Yeah.
look different in every household, but yeah, I
Yeah.
love that part of it.
Well, I've definitely toyed around with the idea of hosting retreats. I'm like, maybe that's on the docket for us soon. Because like I love being virtual. I love meeting people virtually, but I'm like, God, if we could all get in the same room, like imagine what could happen within a couple
Magic.
days. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. Like this has been, eye-opening for me as well. I will say, like, as someone who created the community, I don't feel like I run it. I feel like it's kind of community run. Like we're there for each other. I kind of just facilitate the community. But sometimes, you're just in the motion of like, okay, what can we do? How can we help these people? But sometimes it's nice to step back and see like, oh, we are changing lives. Like we are doing it. And so thank you
Great.
for being
Yeah.
willing to share your
I love it.
experience.
And I think probably the biggest encouragement is that you don't have to eat the whole elephant all at once. I love
Mm,
that even just within the online portal, things are kind of chunked out. You can take it slow, take as long as you need to kind of master a concept and then add more. It's kind of that whole I'm trying to stack more fitness habits in my life, but you're not
mm,
doing it all at one time. And I
mhm.
think the coolest part is sitting here today in this chair looking back like, wow, I've made huge progress. I would have never known when I signed up as a member what would be ahead. And
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, I love that. I love to hear that. What would you say to a mom who was maybe on the fence? Because we get a lot of messages of people like, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I just don't know if it's going to work for me. And for me, it's like just try it, just do it. But again, I'm the person that is offering the program. You're someone who's not. You have no skin in the game. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say if you're struggling with the decision, that's a confirmation that you need to join. Think
Mm,
that that is like you're rumbling with something that you need help with, and that community is going to wrap arms around you and help you figure that out.
Mm,
But having said that, you can't be in the community and be quiet. You have to show up and ask questions and be part of it. And I think that's when people are able to push the needle forward and view the content. It's kind of like if I signed up for a gym and didn't ever go to the gym, probably not going to lose any weight.
yeah, yeah, totally.
So I think you get out of things what you put into it. But I always feel like that little rumbling, that little nagging means that's your sign.
Yeah. Yeah. And we try to have like a low barrier to entry, right? Like you can sign up for a month and if it doesn't work for you, you can cancel. Like there's
Right.
no strings attached. So
Right.
I always am just like, just try it out. Just see how it goes, put in the
Exactly.
effort and see. And most people are like, wow, I didn't know how robust this actually was and
Absolutely.
how helpful it is.
And then track things too, just like what the question you asked me about grocery savings. I really
Mm,
wish I had that chart. But
hmm.
if you actually say, okay, I'm going to try it for 4 months, see where you are at the beginning, what you're spending, see the next month what you're spending, that progress will make it, it'll validate your experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And the progress is what breeds more progress, right?
Right.
When you see how much you can save, then you're motivated to continue.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I think the other thing too, I was thinking, and I enjoy now that I've been in the group, I love listening to other, YouTubers about money saving tips, but they're not like it doesn't take away from the content I'm learning with you. Like it just
Mm.
supports more of that. So it's just more of that free flow exchange of information and kind of growth together.
Yeah, and I always find that I always say the transformation begins with the transaction.
Yeah,
So a lot of the times it takes you saying yes to yourself to then snowball effect, because now you're saying to yourself, you're saying to the universe, you're saying to your wallet, I want to figure this problem out. And so taking the transaction then breeds you opening up all new possibilities because you've now proven to yourself that you want to actually change.
absolutely.
You're
Yeah,
going to look at things differently. You're going to consume content differently. You're going to do all of those different things. I could offer the Money Mom Club for free. I could do that, but I actually don't believe that that's going to create transformation
agreed.
because of that deeper work that I think needs to happen when
Right.
we say yes. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to share before we sign off? Anything else that you're thinking of?
Gosh, I don't know. I think sometimes, signing up for anything, you think, okay, I'm going to do it for X period of time, and then I'm going to bounce. Like I'll learn what I need to learn, and then I'll move along. And I feel like I'm still learning. So I think
Mm,
that's kind of cool that it's not a finite, here's your PDF of the 7 things, and then,
hmm. Hmm.
it is a continual growth cycle. So that's been fun for me. And it also has changed kind of the way I said one kid is in college, so I missed some opportunities to talk to him about money, but the younger one, and some of the things like instead of we can't afford something, I'm saying we're choosing to spend money differently right now.
Beautiful.
We're doing, and that has been a change in this last year and a half, being
Mm,
in this community and just kind of rethinking some stuff. And sometimes it's like not even intentional thinking, but it's listening and then it percolates through in a different format.
beautiful.
I'm grateful for that too.
Yeah,
So,
there's a trickle down effect. Like do the work for yourself because it will change generations.
right.
And if my kids can grow up with less scarcity in their life, feeling like there's more opportunity, like that, and then I've done my job. But it takes me figuring out my own crap, you know?
Amen. Yes.
So that's beautiful. And
Yeah.
that's why we call it the Money Mom Club. We're moms,
Right.
right? And we have this job and stewardship over our children. That's so important.
That's
So
great.
thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for taking the time to be here and sharing your experiences with us. Um, yeah, this was really, really great. And I hope that our listeners who are listening either resonate with it or got questions answered or anything. If you have any questions for me specifically, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or send me an email. I'm obviously here and cheering everybody on. I really want everyone to be successful. So thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.